Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rachelle Anne Miller YouTube channel. My name is Lien and today I'm sharing a sneak peek from the new release from this month of February. So this release will be available on the 17th and you will just love it all. This adorable little girl is called Party Girl and I just loved her the first second that I saw her. And so I decided to feature this one as one of the sneak peeks for this week. So first of all, I printed it onto Translucite Perfect coloring paper, and now I'm using my Copic markers to color her in. Today's card will be clean and simple. I am, coloring this image. I will create a birthday card from this image and, just have some fun coloring. So I started with the hair. You probably already know why. I personally try to start with the hardest parts every time when I start coloring, because you never know whether you will have a good or a bad day, and the most difficult parts can really ruin your image. So I start with that, and once I know that that is sort of okay, then I can continue with the rest and be at ease that the rest of the image will work out as well. So therefore, for me personally, that's hair and skin. So that's what I started with today, and it worked out, so I could just continue with the rest. For this card, I decided to work with pinks, many pinks, and then a few details of yellow. So really simple coloring, repeating the colors wherever I could to have that clean and simple feel as well. About the coloring with Copics or any alcohol markers, there are many ways to use them or to apply them and get that blend that you might be after. I personally prefer going from darkest to lightest. But there are, again, many ways, and it might happen that you start with a coat of the lightest color and then continue like that. That's perfectly fine. I used several methods throughout my crafting years, and since a few years I decided to just go from darkest to lightest, and that works out for me. But you do you, and you do whatever you feel comfortable with and what gives you that end result that you really like. So here as well, I reused several colors, leaving out one of the darker ones depending on which image I was coloring, just to have a bit of a variety in combinations, but not necessarily in markers that I used. So sometimes you can just leave out the lightest or the darkest marker from a combination that you like, and you already have a completely different feel to, for example, the browns that you used. Nobody will know that these are exactly the same markers except for the darkest or the lightest, except of course because we share it with each other. But people who don't craft will never know, and they will be amazed by all of the brown combinations that you featured or whatever combination you are doing that method with. So that's something that I really like about alcohol markers, that you can just have several combinations using still the same markers. It's a bit of a strength, I think. So I went for all the browns as much as possible all at once, so that I could have them out of the way, and then I went for the pink. So this is like an oldish, really muted pink, and I just love this color. I used it many times before. It just is really gentle in my opinion, and it's the R85, 83 and 81. If you want to have a specific area with really a lot of contrast along with this combination, I would recommend R89, which is a really dark, intense red. But if you go back and forth between that one and 85, then you will really have a gorgeous combination with a lot of contrast. So as you can see, I just went for exactly the same pinks on the dress. Well, I think it's a skirt and a shirt, but if you color it like this, it looks like it's a dress with a belt, perhaps. And even the little girls that I know, they wear the same, well, like skirt and t-shirt colors as outfits. They just love it. So for those tiny stripes, I went for a light pink of my combo, and then the heart, of course, I had to add a pink as well. So a lot of repetition in the colors, but that's what I like doing. You can also make this like a really rainbow kind of card and coloring, and that would be gorgeous as well, but I just kept it as simple as possible. I contemplated in the beginning whether I was going to do the head with yellow, because that was going to be the other color in this card. And I decided not to do that because you have that one star on the left, and I already was going to do that one in yellow. So I thought, well, just to have it stand out a bit more, maybe it is handier to do just pinks. I wasn't bothered by maybe going inside of those circles on the head, because you can always get rid of it using a colorless blender, or what I will do later on is using a white jelly roll pen to just color them in white again. So I'm almost done with the coloring already. Although there are a lot of elements, it was quite simple to color in. That's also something that I like about Rachelle Anne Miller, her illustrations. You have so many details, but at the same time there is some sort of a simplicity going on, and I just love that. So I use some grays to just add a bit of shadow, and then later on I will also add a bit of grounding. There were a few hiccups, but colorless blender is my best friend. So I fixed that, but you will see that later on. I was contemplating whether to do that or not. I often think that it's not needed. Some images like this one already give you the illusion of where the grounding is, because there are several items on the floor, in the sky, you know. So you can do whatever you like. You can also use masks and then add some ink blending. That's gorgeous as well. You can use your alcohol markers to color backgrounds. I am trying to get better at using my alcohol markers in the background. It's a bit out of my comfort, so I don't do it every time. I have a few videos from this year where I went outside of my comfort, also already one with the animal numbers. But I'm taking it slow. So today on this card I didn't want to distract from the image by doing a crazy gorgeous background with markers, because truly this image is just gorgeous on its own. So this was my initial plan. I have this frame, I wanted it in pink, then the birthday in pink. I cut it out of ballet slippers from Concord the 9th. Gorgeous pink, but it wasn't exactly the pink that I had in the image. So I thought, well, I will just add a little bit of distress inks on the top. Now I tried it, it didn't work. I tried another pink, it wasn't perfect completely. And then I ended up combining picked raspberry and tethered rose, which is more of an orangey kind of pink, and actually in my opinion that works pretty well. So after testing and twisting and changing the distress inks, I figured that out. So I thought this alphabet was going to work. I did exactly the same with my distress inks as on the frame, but I didn't like it. I love these alphabets, but it was just a bit too thin for this card. So here I finally took the tethered rose. I love picked raspberry, but that's a really vibrant pink, and then the tethered rose actually muted it a bit more. So that was why I mixed it. And then I tried it out, the birthday that I had in my mind. I didn't like it. I used another alphabet set. I wasn't convinced neither. And then I took the happy birthday words die I didn't die cut the happy, only the birthday, and that really was for me the solution for my card. So after ink blending quite a lot, um, I finally figured out what my sentiment was going to be, being this gorgeous scripty birthday word. So that being figured out, I had to trim down my panel that I colored so that it could fit behind the frame. And then once I did that, I really started doubting about having to add grounding or not. And so that you will see later on how I fixed that. So here, as I said previously, white jelly roll pen to just make sure that those circles were completely white. And then you have this frame. I'm just going to add it with some liquid glue. And then I could place that birthday as well, but I waited with that to first add it onto my card base, and then some liquid glue, having the birthday there. I was fiddling quite a bit with the liquid glue. From time to time I have the liquid glue oozing from underneath, so I thought if I just add it by pressing the word in some liquid glue on top of a piece of paper, maybe that helps. That didn't work for me in this case, so I just went for it again, adding a few dots of liquid glue on the back of the birthday. I got rid of a bit of it, the excess, and then I tried to place it as centered as possible on top of my card. Don't forget the title. To add it, I prefer using the negative of my die cut and just making sure that it is aligned as intended by the makers of the die cut. It's not really needed. You can definitely decide to do it differently, or if you want to add a star instead of the title, that's also an option. That would be nice as well. It's all up to you, of course. So I had it finished and then I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, adding a bit of grounding. So I started a really light gray marker, the W0, you barely can see it, so you can try things out. And then what I often do is use my T-square ruler. I'm so bad with getting the grounding straight, and I just want that edge in the back to be straight, if you know what I mean. So therefore I also always have to grab the T-square ruler to help me. So I went back and forth quite a while to get it how I wanted it to be. And then I wasn't convinced, and I started using the colorless blender to get rid of a bit of the harsh lines. Then back again with the square ruler to help me get that line straight. And then I'm again fading it more with the colorless blender. It was truly a battle. But I'm glad that I added a bit of grounding, but again, many ways to add it, many ways. If you have dark colors, for example, on the images, then you don't even have to mask it completely if you just want to have really soft grounding with some ink blending. It all depends on the coloring, of course, but masks are always an option. So here, as I said, I wasn't convinced. I used my colorless blender to get rid of the most of the, well, of the gray marker in the back that I had. And then, well, I sort of added it back again. It was just, I don't know, sometimes it isn't working out, but I'm glad that I didn't give in. I took that line back, and then I just did some flicking towards the bottom, flicking into the white area of the card, so I wouldn't be bothered about coloring the whole bottom with the gray. Just some flicking. And if you have any harsh edges, you can always use a colorless blender to fade it out a bit more into that white area if you want to. So after fiddling quite a bit, I decided that I was happy with my grounding as well. So this is my card for today. Don't forget to check out all of the inspiration from the sneak peeks from this new release. You will love it all, I'm sure of it. But this is my card for today and my video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. I would truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you back next time. Bye!